Good evening. I'm going to call the Finance and Governance Committee for November 28, 23 to order. And Madam Clerk, roll call and posting of the agenda.
Member Basua,
Here.
Chair Zaragoza.
Here.
We have a quorum. The agenda for this meeting was posted on the City Hall Bulletin Board on November 21st, 2023.
Thank you. And the Councilman Gabe Teran is going to join us a little bit later. So please join us to salute the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, our next item is public comments not on the agenda. And I understand that we have a couple of speakers. Kristen Risk, I think, in Austin. I'm not going to pronounce the last name. Kristen, is he on Zoom or?
Chair Zaragoza, Kristen is currently not available virtually or in person at this time.
Okay, how about Austin?
Austin is also not available virtually or in person at this time.
Okay, well, he's going to be in Public Works. But we do have Ronald Araujo.
That's for D2 agenda.
A D2, okay, thank you. Okay, Ronald, we'll get you later. Thank you. Okay, our next item,
So are there any other speakers?
any other speakers?
Chair Zaragoza, there's no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Thank you. Our next item then is item C1, consent. City Clerk Department, approval of the minutes. Recommendation that the Finance Governance Committee approve the minutes of November 14, 2023, regular meeting as presented.
I'll move the recommendation.
Okay, second, please vote. And this is on the consent.
Motion passed 2-0.
Thank you. And no speakers on this item either, right?
That's correct, Chair Zaragoza.
Okay, our next item is D1, Building and License Department, subject clarification regarding business tax permit administration, discovery, and auditing services. Recommendation, the Finance and Governance Committee recommend the City Council, 1, authorize the outsourcing of licensing services, 2, approve and authorize the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Oxnard and Hinder Leiter de Lamas and Associate HDL to provide business tax permit administration, discovery, and auditing services for a period of 5 years with the option to renew another 5 years prior to the contract's expiration. And 3, adopt a resolution authorizing the examination of sales and transactions and use of tax records by HDL. And again, this was a pre-recorded presentation as per Measure M. And we do have Eden. Eden, do you have any additional comments you'd like to share at this time?
Chair Zaragoza, good afternoon. Member Basua. We're coming back to the committee to provide clarification on the revenue. We feel that the first time we brought this in September, we did not provide clear information about the revenue and what the city will realize in terms of savings and what the city could realize in terms of additional revenue.
Okay, so as a result of that, Eden and staff, Councilmember, would like to share something? Let me go ahead and start first.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, I think it's important that it is not beneficial right now at this time to recommend that we do. The proposed revenues was not clearly communicated, as you mentioned. So I don't believe really that it's really to our benefit to support our outsourcing this item at this time. So we like to keep it intact, and also that. But however, Siri and Eden, I would be open, that potentially we can bring back the HDL to help us with collecting new revenues from new businesses that we're not doing now, that I think will help us in the future. which I think it might be beneficial if we bring that back, as, at a future agenda item to look at that. Siri, what do you think of that?
We can certainly do that. Are you clarifying, Mayor, to leave the existing administration as it is?
Yes.
For existing permits and just request that HDL come back for new permits?
Yes, exactly right. That would be my recommendation, because I don't think it's beneficial to us, and we can keep that division intact, with all the, what, 5 employees or 6 employees, Eden? Is that what you have?
Five
Employees. So I think it'd be probably more beneficial to keep them intact right now, because, as I mentioned before, we did not get clear, clear numbers as to if it's going to be beneficial or not to us to outsource it. Councilman Sura.
Thank you, Mayor. And to staff, I greatly appreciate you bringing this back for clarification. It speaks highly of of what you're bringing to the city and to this council as far as transparency. And I could not thank you enough for bringing this item back and letting us know that there was a bit of confusion. So I applaud you for that. I'm going to go ahead and agree with our mayor. I don't think it's to our benefit right now to contract these positions out. $182,000 savings for 1 year, $194,000 for the next, is really going to take away from the customer service aspect that we give currently. I am not, though, and I'm supportive of the mayor's request to bring back a proposal for new revenue through HDL and see what that contract can do for us. So I'm not opposed to that at all, but for now, I'm not able to support the recommendation to contract our customer service out.
But we can potentially bring that in the future once we can evaluate it and go from there.
We will do another study, and then we will come back and
Sherry,
present.
okay with that?
Yeah, we can ask HDL if they're interested.
So with that being said, this item will still go to the entire city council, or it will just die in committee?
No, it won't go, we're not recommending it.
So,
So it will not go to the city council.
okay.
Thank you,
So-
Eden. Thank you so much. So,
Do we need to take a vote?
yes,
Okay, so do you want to,
I'll make a vote that we not continue with this item and with outsourcing and again, to bring the HDL in the future for outsourcing, to make sure that we look at probably revenues, Eden, that we have not received, because I understand there's a lot of folks that are not paying their licenses and permits and so forth. Okay?
and I
That
will
would be my
second?
motion.
I will second the motion.
Okay, so please vote, or Madam Clerk.
Motion passed 2-0.
Thank you, Eden.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, our next item is, this is the City Manager Department, update to the Citizen Advisory Group, CAG's bylaws. Recommendation of the Finance and Governance Committee recommend that the City Council adopt a resolution incorporating modifications to the existing Citizen Advisory Group, CAG's uniform laws. And again, this was a pre-recorded item per Measure M, and we have Ashley, okay, come on up. Yeah, Arejo. Yeah.
Hi. Good evening, Mayor Zaragoza and Councilwoman Basua. My name is Ronald Arwejo. To be clear, I'm speaking tonight on this matter in my personal capacity and not as part of any governmental body of the city. As someone who has had some experience with revising bylaws, both in the city and outside, I very much appreciate the city manager's office in modifying the existing CAG bylaws to ensure that meetings are both effective and efficient. I'm unsure of when the last revision of individual CAG bylaws happened, but a good rule of thumb is that a nonprofit organization or any organization every 5 years is about the right amount of time to review the bylaws. with subsidiary bodies of an elected organization, every term of a mayor, or at a bare minimum with every successive mayoral administration, the bylaws should be substantially reviewed and updated if necessary. With these bylaw modifications occurring within the first term of the mayor, this is ideal time. Having not been involved with these specific CAGs, I am glad that the city manager's office held a meeting with the individual chairs in which further modifications were promulgated from that. A possible informal recommendation is that an agenda item regarding recommendations of bylaw modifications be put upon each of the individual agendas of the CAGs at least every 4 years, ideally every 2 years, and then all these recommendations would be aggregated and then reviewed as a whole by the leadership of each CAG and then forwarded on to the City Council. As someone who utilizes Robert's Rules of Order, I also believe that this is the correct change to make pertaining to the specific rules to follow, regardless of the changes affected due to the implementation of Measure M. As an active member of the National Association of Parliamentarians, an organization committed to facilitating efficient and democratic decision-making processes and meetings through the effective use of parliamentary procedure, these rules were meant to help any organization decide better, and I truly believe they will do that. At this time, I do recommend a technical update for inclusion in regards to Article 8, Rules of Order, as the statement should be written as, quote, Robert's Rules of Order newly revised shall constitute the parliamentary authority for the meetings, end quote. There are a few differences between, quote, Rules of Order, end quote, and the, quote, Rules of Order newly revised, end quote, that will grow larger with each passing edition that could have legal implications. I'm prepared to do another public comment if and when this gets to the City Council and send documentation prior to the meeting in regards to this specific recommendation if this committee is disinclined to include this recommendation right now. I thank the city's managers for continuing and concluding this action. And as a personal side, I also want to thank Ms. Samantha Shapiro for her work and assistance not only on both this agenda item, but also for the INCO and for the East Village neighborhood on which I serve as chair. Thank you all.
Thank you, Ron. Samantha and Mr. City Attorney, we have not seen those changes that the speaker wanted to add or amend or whatever, so how can we go ahead and say we're okay with those items without having staff look at it? Samantha or Steve?
So were you taking notes on certainly the specific citation to Robert's Rules? There's a bit of redundancy built in here because that requirement is spelled out in the city code. So again, it's a bit redundant, and the bylaws can't supersede what's in the city code. But for clarity, I don't object to having that
So in other words, it
clarification.
really clarifies it even more so. It's more redundant, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just saying having the bylaws reference to Robert's Rules match how it is stated in the city code is not unreasonable. In fact, is probably a good thing.
Okay, so then we're okay with this, what you're saying then?
Yes.
We'll be okay. Samantha?
I'll defer to the city attorney on this one.
I can't hear.
I'll defer to the city attorney's
Okay,
advice on this
good.
one.
So,
Chair Zaragoza. Chair Zaragoza,
yes, ma'am.
just for the record, we have no additional speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Okay, so we're good with it. One of the things that I think is important in this bylaws is, after reading and listening to the presentation, that's really going to clear a lot of the conflicts, the potential we might have between CAGs. And this way, everybody follows the same rules, the Brown Act rules and so forth, and Robert's Rules of Order. And so I think it's going to help us. And my understanding is we haven't had any updates in years for the CAGs.
So the bylaws that are being revised today were the uniform bylaws that were adopted in June of 2022. So prior to that, each of the
Prior
CAGs
to that,
had
right.
a different set of bylaws, but the modifications that are recommended here are part of the annual review that's written into the bylaws, but prior to that, the bylaws all had a different version and were quite old.
And those were adopted on June 21, 2022 also.
Yes.
Okay. Councilwoman?
No, I didn't have any.
We're okay?
We're okay.
Okay, so, motion.
I will move the recommended action, and thank you for all the hard work. I know that's really hard to do.
So you're good? Okay, so motion by Councilman Basua and second by Zaragoza. Please vote.
Chair, can you vote on the machine? Can you vote?
Okay, thank you.
Motion passes 2-0.
Thank you, Mr. Araujo. Thank you so much for your presentation. So no additional speakers on this item or, good.
Excuse me, Chair Zaragoza, please let the record show that Member Turan joined the meeting at 5:18 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our next item number 3, and this is, this would be D3, Fire Department, authorization to submit grant applications to Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, assistance to firefighters grant matching requirements of up 10% up to $193,815.03. Recommendation of the Finance and Governments Committee recommends the city council authorize, number 1, the submission of 7 grant applications to FEMA Assistant Firefighter Grant, AFG, for $1,948,632, including a 10% match for the proposed 50 sets of structural firefighting turnouts and paramedic squad, paramedic training, EMS training, equipment, and USAR hazmat and fire prevention training. 2, the submission of fire prevention and safety, FP&S, in the amount not to exceed $350,000, including a 5% match for the installation of 5,000 combination smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. 3, the city manager or designee to execute the grant agreement if a grant funds are awarded to the city. And 4, that the city financial officer or designee submit a financial report to grant claims for the use of match and grant funds to perform all required financial actions. And 5, that the fire chief or designee submit non-financial reports. And of course, this was a pre-recorded item per Measure M, where we do have Chief Alex Hamilton for any additional information. Council members, anything you might want to add to this, Chief?
Chair, Mayor, the only thing I'd say is that a grant resolution was recently passed to simplify the process. We did decide to bring this forward to you for approval as we don't have previously appropriated matching funds in our budget, and because we didn't meet that part of the requirement, we decided it was best to bring this before you. This is a grant program that we routinely apply for on an annual basis, and we've been successful on them in the past.
And the 10% is it's $195,000 for our part of it, which is not bad for what we're looking for. And we're looking for, if we send 7 grants, for the $1.948 million and so forth. And of course, this is, I think it's really important that we say this is really safety equipment for our firefighters and equipment that you need on an ongoing basis, which I think is extremely important to keep our firefighters safe, and also the city for that matter. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
Council members, any additional questions on this?
No, I don't.
No questions? What's the pleasure of the board?
Excuse me, Chair
Any
Zaragoza.
speakers on this item?
No, there's no speakers virtually or in person for this item.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I will move the recommended action.
Motion by Councilman Turan, second by Councilman Basua. Please vote.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, Chief,
Thank you so much.
and good job.
Thank you.
And our next item is items for future agendas. Council members, any items? Future agendas?
No, I don't have any.
Well, go ahead. Councilman Turan.
Thank you. No future agenda items, but I do want to thank you for your patience as I arrived tardy. I was at Oxnard High School for a presentation, and I just want to reiterate the amazing young people we have in the city of Oxnard doing great things in our community. So I'm very fortunate to be able to do that, but unfortunately there was a little overlap in getting here on time. And I was listening, and I do want to thank my colleagues and our staff for the preceding items, especially the one regarding the billing and licensing.
The outsourcing.
The outsourcing, and I agree with what was mentioned, although the vote has passed. Thank you for that idea and recommendation to forego it for now, but also look at potential for HTL to do other things outside of what our counter people do.
And
So thank you for that.
And thank you, and as I mentioned and continue mentioning, we have probably the best city employees I've ever worked with, and also the best administration we've had, and I want to thank Eden for your work too, and to continue doing that work, for us, and of course, the city manager and our public safety employees are really good employees, so thank you for that. Thank you so much. So that's our last one. We are adjourned.